Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 176. I'm your host as always. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by my co-host as always. It is Samson. Samson, how do you do, good sir?
I do well by doing good. Dan, I do well by doing good. And I've been walkabouting a good amount. I love that it's sort of been a weight off my shoulders not hosting the tournament. And this new course, fantastic. We're going to get into it later, but I've been doing a lot of walkabout and I love it. It's just VR at its finest. Dan, how are you doing? Because a lot of my walkabout was with you, but I think you got into other things, right? You did. It was
nothing new, I would say, but yeah, I had the same kind of week like you. A lot of walkabout, preparing for this episode. We got into it. I feel like we don't play too many multiplayer games on any other game, but for some reason, when it comes to walkabout, it's an easy matchup.
Well, the Thursday nights have been helping too.
They have been helping as well. Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of walkabout. I'm very excited to get into it today because this is the episode where I feel like the reason why the title of this episode is why Walkabout Mini Golf is a must play for every VR player is, yes, we're going to go into the review of Mount Olympus, which is their latest course, which came out yesterday.
And yes, we love hyperbole.
Yes, we do. So the reason being is that I feel like, and we've noticed on the Discord as well, I think one of our newer Discord members, Futureproof, he actually didn't have the game and picked it up recently. And it sometimes is lost on me that there are a few people out there or people with Quest that don't own this game, where for some reason in my head, I feel like everybody has this game installed.
But Dan, a few people, Joel, I think, who joined us for a little bit during Thursday night, said that he found, or I think he got it because of the podcast.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because we kept talking about it. Yeah. So let's talk about it more. Samson, and let's get more players into Walkabout. But before we get into that, a bit of housekeeping as always. If you haven't joined the Discord already, the link is in the description. It's totally free. We do have a lot of discussion in there, a lot of good discussion actually. Some of the comments I've pulled for some episodes and such, but we'll get into that in a second. But it's absolutely free. Come join us below. Even if you don't know how to use Discord, we will take care of that. We will help you along. Samson, you want to quickly plug the Walkabout tournament that's happening?
I can. We're actually recording before scores are due at midnight, the date of recording, so I can't give an update as far as scores for week 2 or what courses to play this week just yet. Maybe I'll get it in the comments in YouTube or something like this. But Healing Entree is hosting the Let's Talk Oculus tournament, and it is a good time. Each week we play an easy course and a hard course. You can submit scores for both score mode, which is just regular scores, +1, +1, or -1, -1,
nice,
etc.
Nice, yeah.
or race mode to see how fast you are. And Dan, I've actually gotten into watching a bunch of random speedrun documentaries on YouTube, and it's gotten me to check the Walkabout speedrun community, speedrun.com/Walkabout Mini Golf VR. And it's been a few years for a lot of these score submissions, and I think there's time to be had on a lot of these submissions for Walkabout. So if you're out there and you like speedrunning, all you got to do is record your gameplay, and then you can upload it to Facebook or YouTube, and then submit it, and boom. Bing, bam, boom. You could be a world record holder in Walkabout speeding. I'm certain Healing Entree could do it.
I know you're determined to do it yourself. I think you are determined.
I don't know about that, but I do like to torture myself in that way.
Yeah, I can see that. So, and then also we play Walkabout every Thursday as well. At the moment, we've been doing that for the whole month of February, and we're going to continue for the month of March, since it seems to be quite successful as well. So come on, join us. Normally it's Samson's always in there. I think I'm mostly in there as well. And then Dave is also there as well.
Dan is always there. And I'm always there.
I missed one day. That's why I can't say I have 100% record, but
that's fair. But I was late that day. So
yeah, there we go. Yes, there we go. We'll both have 100% records. Let's just say that.
You could have made, in theory, you could have made it if we were on time. You know, yeah. What do we know?
That's true. What do we know? What do we know? And then if you like us so much, you can support us at patreon.com. Just throw us $1 on patreon.com/letstalkoculus is the plug. It's in the description. If you want to support us at $5 or more, you'll get this on day of release. And for the patrons listening to this, as you probably already know, this podcast is coming out a little bit later on a Thursday because of the embargo for Mount Olympus. And finally, Samson, I do love this part of the show. It's kind of something that we introduced this year, this calendar year, and we've seemed to be getting a lot of engagement, is the comment section, the listener comments. I do enjoy interacting with the listeners on the actual show itself. As a reminder, you can send us comments through Spotify, YouTube, Discord, the letstalkoculus at gmail.com, I guess. You can send us through there or DM us on Twitter. There's lots of places. Just get us the message.
PO box coming.
But yeah, Sam's going to set up a PO box as well. So yeah, you can send us some snail mail. But Samson, let's get into the comments here. We have 4 comments. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'd love to. Tyler from LTO episode 175 on Spotify says, "Amazing guys, 100. Been looking for people talking Oculus," and that's us.
That's us. We are the people to talk Oculus. No one else.
For 176 episodes, we've done it.
Yeah, no one else talks Oculus. No one else does. I can
we'll probably make it to 200.
I think we will make it to 200. I think we'll comfortably make it to 200. In fact, I wonder when 200 is. It must be this year.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, Dan.
No, we'll get to 200. That's only 24 episodes. That's 24 weeks. That's probably like September.
Yeah.
Connect.
So much could happen before then.
There's so much can happen. We're getting there. We're thinking positive here. We're getting there. Next comment, Nick is also, this was for LTO 174 via Spotify. He says, "Found you guys recently, picked up my Quest 2 after maybe a year of a break from it. Super excited to get back into this hobby and pick up some of the greatest I've missed. Be listening to you weekly from here on out."
Hello, thanks. Nick.
Hello, Nick. Welcome to the show. I guess most of those games that we talk about actually work on Quest 2, to be honest. There's still not that many Quest 3 only games.
Yeah, a good amount of them, definitely.
Yeah. So
let us know in a future comment, what you've been playing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it, Samson. You're next.
Yeah, friend of the show, Noble Squashy, LTO 175 on YouTube, wanted to clear up our little mix-up on Orion Drift, where he says, Orion Drift, clarification, the social hubs and driftball, the main sport, are all in a gravity-based locale where you use gorilla tag movement. In between the social hubs, and potentially in future sports added, there are zero-G areas where you can only really use your hand jets.
Yeah, I guess we never played the game last week, and I still haven't.
I played once a long time in beta, but I was only in... I don't know where I was. I was in some sort of hub, and I could watch the sports going on. Yeah,
we should definitely get into it. I've seen a lot of people online saying it's very good, but I've been playing nothing but Walkabout pretty much, to be honest with you. But yeah, we should definitely get into it because it feels like the talk of the town at the moment. The talk of the town.
I think I'd mostly enjoy hanging out watching other people play.
Yeah,
within the game.
You can watch me just monkey around.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
I
see what you did there.
There we go. I'm learning.
Bananas.
I'm learning. Final comment. This is from Roll With Me Kenobi. Big fan of that name. A brand new Discord member, actually. He posted this Discord question, which was actually a question we talked about on last week's show, which was about how to find new games since the store is bad. Like, how do we find new games? How do we find new releases? How do we find those like hidden gems that not many people talk about? But he put in something really interesting. He said, lately what I've been doing is I go to Questor DB, which is a website that has a whole Questor database uploaded. I click all and then sort by name or release date, and I literally just go through the list and find the ones that look good and add them to the wish list. I do this with the Steam DB website too. It takes a while, but it's a good way to find games that no one talks about. I thought this was a good comment because for my Steam Deck, I actually use Steam DB a lot, if not almost as much as the store. Like Steam Store is pretty good, but I always like to go on Steam DB also because it tells you the sales data in terms of like when it's lowest on sale. So if a game's on sale today, you can go check the graphs and be like, oh, actually in December last year, it was way cheaper. So maybe let's just wait till December this year and it'll probably drop cheaper and such. It's really
Can
helpful.
you say Steam DB 5 times fast?
Steam DB, no. No, I failed at 2.
No, but I agree with roll with me, Kenobi. I roll with that answer. I agree. That's sort of, it's like going to all the data, right? It's just simply going to unsort, you know what I mean? Unfiltered. You can filter it yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not, it's not like recommendations from somebody, right? You're going right to the source.
Yeah,
it can be helpful that way.
It's good because it tells you what's popular
Unbiased.
today.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it tells you what's popular today, which is really handy. But you can, there's tons of filters in there. It tells you by release date, like you mentioned, ratings, sale time, all that stuff. Really handy, and it also tells you like how long's left on the sales, and like if it's the first time it's ever been on sale or if it's the lowest, just like Steam DB's works if no one's used that before. Like if I'm on it right now, I can see Racket NX is currently almost 50% off, and it says it's at the lowest price it's ever been. So you're like, oh, this is the perfect time to hop in, which is really handy. So yeah, actually, this is a great suggestion because I didn't think this actually existed. I love it on Steam, so I didn't think this existed. So thanks for the suggestion. Roll with me, Kenobi. Samson, that is just the comments for this week. I mean, there's a tons of stuff happening in the Discord, but there's only so much one can bring into a podcast. You know, come into the Discord if you want to continue the conversation. All right, let's get into the VR news. We have about 5 items on the list to talk about. They're not big ones, but I know Samson's quite passionate about one of them. But before we get into that one, Wanderer, The Fragments of Fate is officially coming to this Quest and PSVR 2 on March 27th. This is a remake from the game Wanderer, which is on the PC. It's like a full-blown remake itself. There's been 2 delays recently. I think last year it was meant to be out, and it's been delayed twice. But it looks like it's finally coming, and they've been delaying it because they just really want to make this game good. And I'm hoping because of the delays, they're ready to do it, and they're not too pressured just to get it out there. It's said that the game is going to be 10 to 14 hours long, so it's a pretty long game for a VR game, to be honest. And then obviously, if you have a PSVR 2, as Samson does, it seems like that is probably the best place to play for this kind of game. It uses eye tracking, it has haptic feedback, adaptive triggers. The gameplay trailer that they put out last year was all captured in PSVR 2, and it looks fantastic. It looks crisp. It's really nice. Jury's out to see what it looks like on Quest 3. I hope it looks good, but we'll see what happens. Samson, are you excited about this one? I'm actually, I think I'm going to get this day one unless the Quest version's got a lot of issues.
Am I excited for Wanderer? Yes and no. I mean, I'm nearly certain I'm not finishing this game. The game does look really cool. I'm pretty curious how eye tracking and all that's utilized. I've never played before, so it'll be a fresh experience. I'm certain puzzles will stump me, and I'll get stuck. As I got stuck in Metro. Almost every game. Yeah, Metro. And I'm pretty average at most games, Dan. That's I've just got to admit that. And average to bad, really. But then some games I'm average to good. So, there's a spectrum. Anyway, Wanderer, it looks really cool. So I'm really excited to hop into this world like I am most games. But I might have to like easy mode it or something.
Depending on how like tough the puzzles, I can see you getting into this like you got into Hubris, to be honest.
Yeah, there are some games that really do suck me in. This is true.
Yeah, so I can see like this could be one. It looks very interesting. It's like a time travel adventure where you start off in one time zone, but then you can dart into a different time zone. And it looked like on the gameplay trailer, you can like craft weapons from a different time zone and bring them into another one and such. It looks really complicated. So
just this image has him with like a squirt gun and a crowbar and a
in the poster
arrow,
image.
So, yeah, in the poster image. Are you thinking you're gonna get this on the Quest?
Yeah. I think unless it's like got a significant amount of issues, like for example, Alien had and such. I'll wait obviously until the reviews. I'm not going to pre-buy it. I'm not sure if it's on pre-sale at the moment, but I won't be pre-buying it. But I would definitely be interested to picking this up. It's not until the end of the month, so I think this will be. Time. I've been excited for it. It just looks really good. And I remember, I think it was Kimi Kai, a friend of the show and Patreon. Long-time Patreon. I think she said she played on PC VR and she had a great time with it. I think she put that in the YouTube comments when we did talk about it a while ago.
It does not look like you can pre-order it yet.
No. Okay, fair enough. Moving on, Samson, we got some Meta news, as we always do. Meta says that over 70% of the time spent on Quest are spent playing free-to-play apps. And they're going to double down on it and promote in-app purchases, especially due to this course. Samson, when it comes to free-to-play games, do you have any thoughts on free-to-play games? Does it kind of rub you wrong way, or you just don't really care because it's like its own subsection of gaming, or do you have any thoughts on it at all?
To each their own, really. If you enjoy the games that happen to be free. I've enjoyed some games. I Pop 1's free to play, right? I spent many
Mannequin
hours
just
in this
became
one.
Free to play as well.
Hyperdash free to play.
Yeah.
So, do I think that? I feel like the 70% of people that are spending most of their time playing free to play games, right? That's sort of what this is saying. Yeah. Are not really our heavy listeners.
No.
Nor us. Because certainly very small amounts of time. There are like big screens and other free-to-play game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, technically. And you can spend a lot of time in that one, I guess, if you're watching a movie and such. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm not sure if they rope in Horizon Worlds to be that, probably, right? And yeah, probably as well. So and like once again, you can watch the NBA in there and such. So you're not like actually playing a game, but it's just a free to play app as well. So I don't have too many problems with it, to be honest. You worry about bloatware when it comes to free to play, but I think there's a time and a place for free to play, like its own bracket and such. As long as they also focus on like bringing those big single player or big like social apps and such. And when I say big, I don't mean like as Batman big, but like push the paid for titles as well, then that'll be great. I think I saw Ultra Wings actually, the developers at Ultra Wings actually a bit complained about this because they said, I'm not sure if it was this in particular, but they were talking about the store, how now that the store is really bad in terms of you go onto the store and there's a lot of like junk on there. And the reason being is because I think now that App Lab doesn't exist and they've like got early access and it's mixed in with the store, like it's not like it should have been just its own tab. And I think that was the intention. But when you're like searching and such, it just becomes its own store and whatnot.
Yeah.
They were really annoyed because I think they said the sales dropped by 50% for all their apps as soon as the store got merged together. And there was always an issue with App Lab being so separate, but now it being completely integrated with the store is a little bit of a problem too. That there's a little bit of a in between that they just need to find with early access and the store. But I guess this was nothing to do with this news story. Actually, it just came into my head. I remember the Ultra Wings devs not being happy for that, with like a lot of people with the store, which kind of goes into the comments. We were talking about the store last week and with the Roll With Me Kenobi. I like saying that name, so I'm just going to keep saying it. Comment as well. All right, Samson, let's talk about this next news story, which didn't, you weren't in the best of spirits when you heard of it. So Meta discontinues Move, the Quest fitness tracker that came out a few years ago, which now integrates with Apple Health and Android Health, whatever Android one's called. I don't have it, but whatever that one's called. Now it's being discontinued by end of March 31st with no replacement in sight. They did quote here, they say it relies on legacy technology, which limits our ability to introduce new innovations for the Quest users. They're discontinuing it to deliver more advanced features to enhance the Quest experience. This sounds exactly like when they discontinued the Google Chrome. No, it was not the Google Chrome. It was the Google Stick. What is the Google Stick called?
Chromecast.
There we go. When they
but that only lasted 2 weeks.
It did, right? Yeah, it did. But it sounds like the same kind of language. And then they obviously brought it back because people were in uproar. Samson, why were you not happy with this news?
Well, I would use it. I would use it to track my VR fitness stand. And when I would play Synth Riders, it would tell me how many calories I burned in my Synth Riders session. It's also a decent way to keep tracking how long you've spent in each game type of deal.
That's true.
And it synced right with my watch. So it was pretty convenient. And it just tracked as gaming workout or whatever.
Yeah.
And
did it all work well?
It worked well enough. It was probably a little high, like most of these things I feel. But
you're looking at your watch and you're like, oh yeah, it says I've burnt 1,000 calories. Nice.
It was never that high, but yeah, I feel like the calories that I would burn riding on my stationary bike felt like I would be a lot sweatier. Right, I would push myself. My heart rate went up higher. So it was easier for me to feel like I burned those calories. Whereas in VR, my heart rate would get higher, but not quite to the like I'm dripping sweat.
Yeah. It's a little bit different. Yeah. Are you do you think you can just replace it by just putting on like your Apple Watch and you just?
It'll still track it the same, just not.
I guess when they came out with it originally, it didn't really do too much, but then they revamped it, right, and it looked much nicer with the system and such. But I'm wondering why. I'm curious to see what
What's most upsetting to me is that they don't have a replacement ready to go, or at least
just like
maybe they do, but yeah, it's like, okay, if the new thing is not going to rely on the legacy technology, just leave the legacy technology there until you have the new thing built to gen. If like, you know what I mean? They're completely separate, apparently. If it's all legacy technology, then just cut it at, you know what I'm saying?
Why not just keep it? If they're going to bring a new one at the Connect, why not just keep it till Connect?
It just feels like you're burning people to burn people. I just don't understand. I don't understand the choice.
Yeah, I don't understand either. I don't understand why you would just get rid of it. You could always, there's nothing wrong with just keeping it around until you get a better solution and then just going, hey, this is the new Move app and it's completely changed from the ground up. Like people, you don't have to get rid of it to work on it,
It's probably because we're all just kind of numbers, Stan. Yeah. And so and the amount of people who use Move, we're a small number. So small
Same
number,
with achievements.
But all those numbers are people, and Move might not have been meaningful to a very large number of people, but there's some people out there who used it. I'm one of them.
Yeah. It's pretty sad to see it go, for sure. Especially how it took over. I think, what was it called? Why You Are Fitness. That app at the start. It kind of completely took over that app, and because that's what they kind of forced themselves into do it, and then now it's just nothing. And now it's a shame because fitness is one of the biggest things. Now, obviously, in an app like Supernatural, it has its own kind of metrics and such, but now you have to rely on all the specific apps, and plus they're dedicated fitness ones, right?
It's so odd when you're pushing all the Supernatural and all that stuff to then to not even have like a health thing there.
Yeah.
And what they did with the Your app is they basically stopped it from working properly, so Your couldn't track things, and they tried to use some excuses like they weren't supposed to get that data that way, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. Stuff that they complain to Apple about, but then do the same thing as well. So yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, very disappointed to see it go, as well as the Achievements app recently as well, and not seeing any replacement immediately and such. So very something like you said, some users will be affected for sure. I personally don't use it, but I don't do as much fitness in VR anymore. That's probably why. But yeah, like you said, small user base, definitely disappointed. And an app like that as well, it's not like a game that you have to maintain servers or anything. Like you could just keep it in. Like it's not harming anything, right? It's not like it requires any manpower or anything. But anyway, moving on, Beat Saber Shadow drops Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Drake probably threw away his Meta Quest at this point, any VR headsets that he had. This comes, it's just a random, obviously they just pounced on it. Obviously it's one of the biggest songs of 2024, if not 2025 now as well. And now they have it in there, and it's the uncensored version as well. So you can
very good.
Go crazy if you want to in there. So Samson, you gonna pick this up?
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah, very good. And then final news story, Gorn 2 has been announced out of nowhere. Gorn 2, if you don't know what Gorn is, it's basically like Gladiator in VR, but it's actually quite fun because you have fun.
You got to say it's cartoony.
Okay, it's cartoony Gladiator in VR, and it's really fun. It's just like an arena combat where you have all these different enemies that come towards you, and then you have all these different types of weapons in the arena that you can use, and they have ragdoll physics on, so it's hilarious sometimes the way you can kill and destroy these people, but at the same time it can cause issues in your house because it is pretty much a room scale game, to be honest. And the amount of, when I played it in a couple of years ago or so, I remember playing it on the Quest Pro, and I smacked that controller right against the wall, and I remember denting the side of it, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I definitely I broke a window shade with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I never went back in.
No, I've never went back in since as well. So I'm intrigued with Gorn 2 to see if they've done anything to help that, like with the fight where you define your area and like nothing gets around that, or if they're just going to keep it room scale. We'll see. But yeah, Gorn 2 sees you take the fight to 5 heavenly realms filled with familiar fallen fighters. It features 35 devastating but unique weapons. You are tasked with battling the 5 sons of the god of the afterlife across these blood spattered arenas. So it sounds like more Gorn basically, but just expanded, because I think Gorn 1 was very repetitive of what it was. It seems like they've expanded it now with these 5 arenas and such like that. So exciting times. It comes out sometime this year. They've no release date yet.
It sounds like Gorn 2. I mean, the first one released in 2017, so
yeah, a while ago.
It's 7 years or whatever for.
The first one released, and back then it was fantastic, and then I think it released in 2019 on Quest. Right, every Quest doesn't exist in 2017, so released it onto Quest afterwards. But it's going to be interesting to see what this game's like now that Underdogs exists, and Underdogs is like absolutely fantastic.
Okay, wow. I see. No, the wiki says Gorn is a 2019 virtual reality hack and slash game, but then it says initial release date is 2017. So
yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like compared to Underdogs. It's going to be a very similar game, but obviously completely different theme and such. So Underdog was absolutely fantastic. We'll see how this one fares. The key thing is like try and not break your walls. Where
they're very different. Gorn, I feel like, is way more comedic, right? You're trying to be ridiculous with your kills. There's blood everywhere, and you're just having fun with that. Whereas Underdogs is sort of a funny dark story.
With excellent like comic book style kind of story happening, and a mech. It's mech in the end of the day, but Underdog is a fantastic game. So it'll just be interesting to see, with a new version of this.
Yeah, it will be cool to see.
For sure.
Is there a price? No price yet, I imagine, right?
No release date, no price. I'm sure it will. I feel like this will be like a random summer drop, or if not, like end of the year. Probably it's not going to be anytime soon for sure. Anyway, that'll do for part one. That is our news. In part two, we're going to be talking a lot about Walkabout because it's going to be Let's Talk Walkabout. So we'll see you in part two.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part two. This is Let's Talk Walkabout for this section at least. Walkabout Mount Olympus just came out. When you're listening to this, it came out yesterday, and it is the newest course in the Walkabout catalog, and probably the biggest course in the Walkabout catalog. So we're gonna get into this little review. I'd say more like first impressions review. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's gonna be quite a bit of spoilers. So if you're not wanting to hear anything about the game, maybe just play it first and then come back to this.
Dan, they had a whole night to play it.
That's true. You had a whole night, and as the Let's Talk Oculus, most of us are diehard Walkabout fans. They would have played it by now. But yeah, so we're going to get into that, and we're also going to discuss why Walkabout is a must-play, why it deserves to be on everybody's headset. But we'll get into that later on. Let's talk about Mount Olympus. Samson, I'll let you start here. What were your initial impressions when you first came? I mean, we did this together, right? But when you first went into the game, what was that initial impression?
My initial impressions were, wow, I think this might be the biggest course they have made so far, because in God mode, you're like, oh, okay. Like the scale is right. You're huge. It's huge. It's hard to really to gauge, but then all of a sudden you teleport down there to hole one and you look up and you try to teleport as far as you can teleport, or you fly however you move. And you just realize how little of percentage wise of the course you've just moved. It's each hole is representative of God, and each one is representative of a god. Each of these holes is godlike, right? They're all enormous, and oh, Dan, that was my initial impressions. I'm about to get past initial impressions.
Okay.
Paper. So, that's sort of the top.
I guess my initial impressions are very much the same, to be honest. Like going into it, I was like, oh my gosh, how it's huge. The course is massive. And it's also like starts massive in terms of you're already on quite a high platform when you start. There's in the course itself, you can go backwards and go all the way down to the water. So then you realize how high everything starts. So you start off quite high, but then it keeps going. And for some reason, I think all the courses, especially the updated ones, which are pretty much all of them, bar maybe a few at this point, look beautiful. They look really good, like a lot of good courses. But for some reason with this one, the colors pop. The aesthetic is really, really nice. And this is I'm just talking easy for now as an initial impression. And there's something about with the colors and the Greek kind of elements they've got in here. It just looks absolutely beautiful. And because of the way it's laid out, you can just see the whole map on afar. Like just as soon as you're on the first hole, you can see the whole map. Where like Venice is also really a pretty course and such, but you're like in it, right? You're inside it. You're going through the streets. Everything's small. You don't see the grand scale, and you can't really appreciate it as much in the God mode. but because in the normal save, because you can see everything, it's kind of like Atlantis, where you can kind of just, on a view, you can see everything pretty much, right? Especially when you're on some of the higher holes, you can just see everything, and it's so like picturesque. Same with this one. That was my initial impression. And with the initial impression, quickly with the holes, just like what you said, I think all the holes have its own like unique nature to them because they're all part of each specific god in the mythology, which is a really cool idea. So,
which brings me to one of the first things I noticed, which was because hole 3 on easy is Poseidon's hole, and it's blue, and it feels like you're underwater, even though you're not. It's crazy. It's got the reflection going in the sand of the water. Mm-hmm. Absolutely magnificent. Such detail. And the green is blue. Make sense of that, what you will. But I feel like it's the first course where there are multiple color greens in the same course.
Yeah, because they're always like Tethys Station's always purple, for example, and such. Like there's always one kind of.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember it.
I could be wrong, but you're right. You're right. Different colors. Let's go into some of the holes because the holes I feel
Let's dive into those holes.
So impressive. Easy mode first. The holes are they're not too difficult, but at the same time there's some challenges in there, and I think there's a lot of holes in this one where you kind of want to go for it. Think about like hole 2, which is I forget who the god is, but it's the one with the love.
Aphrodite.
Is it Aphrodite? Yeah, I think so. But that one, like straight away, like there's a hill, and then as soon as you go up the hill, there's like a wedge, shall we say, and if you hit it left on the hill, you'll get it towards the hole. If you hit it right on the hill, then it's gonna push you outside a bit, and so you really want to go for it every single time. And there's a lot of holes like that where you can kind of just see the line, and it's enough, especially on easy mode, it's enough. And you try and go for it all the time. It's very satisfying when you get
there. Are a lot on easy mode where you can go for a hole in one. And you definitely is. It's so tempting, right? As you mentioned that one, you might be able to get a hole in one with some bounces there, but I'm thinking more the hole later on in the course. I also forget the god for this one, but it's one where the holes match up to symbols up top.
Yes, yeah.
And the hole in one is across a ravine, if you will, a hole. And when you hit the little jump, the ball goes up. So it's very hard to read, but you can, I haven't done it yet. I haven't seen it, but I'm certain you can do it, that you can get the ball to pop up and then go straight into the hole and hole in one. Yeah. So cool. And then later on, there's that straightaway where it has two sort of places for the ball to fall, but then there's a hole in one shot just past those. And it's so tempting. There's a lot of those where it's you want to go for them. Yeah,
you're right. I just think of the hole as well that's above where they're making all the lightning bolts, and that's where like it's basically a straight bridge, and you can try and go for it, but you got to be quite straight. One. But if you do go for it and you're pretty straight, you're probably going to get it in. But it's obviously hard to do that, and or if not, you can go round and such. So. Yeah, you're right. We noticed that a lot when we played the other day, where it was like, there's a lot here, especially in easy, where you can probably get a hole in one, or you can at least have a good fair shot at it. And I'm sure with practice you might be able to get a few of them. So yeah, did you have any favorite holes at all? Does any like holes stick out, even if you can't remember like the actual hole? I'm sure if you remember the god or something, that might be.
Well, I love the feeling. And I the style of the Poseidon hole. It may be because I really like blue.
Yeah, it has the waterfalls across it as well and such, right?
So, yeah, it feels very cool to be underwater and not underwater all at the same time. Gosh, Dan, there are a bunch that I do really like. The E18 with the boats, or hole 1, if you will, on hard mode. I love how that one plays. I love how it looks. It's you got to sort of go up the concrete ramps. I love ramps.
Yeah,
I love ramp. Yeah. Big ramp guy. Big ramp guy. And Dan, the Hermes hole where it's real 3 levels, and then I don't know what you call that symbol, but I'll call it the hell symbol because it's on all the doctor pins. And you gotta kind of go around. That one's also pretty fun and cool.
That one's really cool. Yeah, it's like a little maze, right? That you're kind of going down. And
there's a lot of them. And then you know what? I'm gonna mention it here because Olympus hole hard 13.
I have that one on my list too.
It's huge. It's a huge long one, and I'm curious how many Arizona Modern hole 18s, because that used to be. I remember when that one you were like, "Wow, I got a Arizona 18. Here's the real big hole. Let's step up this." And now that one is. Well, we're about to find out because we asked some, and we're going to find out how many Arizona Modern 18s fit on Olympus hole 13, and we'll get back to you next weekend with that answer.
Yeah, I asked Edward this morning, so we'll get back to you for sure. He says he's going to mathematically measure how many Arizona Modern 18s, and if you don't know Arizona Modern 18, if you can't remember it, it's just a super long one. At the end, there's like you see like the rocks that have collapsed on the tunnel essentially. And in hard, it's very difficult because it has a little tiny bridge in the middle. That's the one, right? If I'm gonna get the right one.
No. Arizona 18 is a big long straightaway, and on 18 it has
I was thinking Bogey's
wedges.
Bonanza. I was thinking Bogey's Bonanza because that's also a long one, but that's not an 18. That's like a different one before you get down to the saloon. Yeah, you're right. Arizona Modern 18 on hard, but it doesn't have anything holding you back at the back, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that it's funny you say that because that was one of my 2 of those holes that you mentioned: the Poseidon hole, which is hole 3 on easy, hole 16 on hard because you go backwards, and 13th on hard, which is it's just fun. I actually did it this morning, Samson, without you, and I just like whipped my wrist at it basically, and it still didn't get as far. Like I couldn't believe it was still not there, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Dan, the cornucopia one, that one's kind of cool.
Yeah, that one is really cool. I actually really like the I like the planet hole on easy. The planet hole on hard is really difficult.
Damn, we got to talk about that because that's the new feature, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So it's hole 17, I think, or hole 2.
Yeah.
And essentially you're in a planetarium type of situation, but the planets are actually orbiting, and each planet has its own gravitational pull. And so you've got to, well, what I did was avoid all the gravitational pulls and try to place the ball.
That's the way to do it.
But you can use them to sort of curve your ball. But one of your balls got sucked in all the way in to underneath the planet. And then each planet has its own hole. So eventually it fell in a hole, but it did take a while. It was a fun time to.
It did. I really struggled on that one. On hard, I think I really struggled on it more than anything.
It was way harder because I went to place my ball. I went with the setup shot, and you were like, "Nah, I'm gonna keep going for it."
Well, that's the thing. On hard, the planets with the gravitational pulls, they move around. Where in easy, they're stationary, so it's a bit easier to kind of try and avoid them. But I actually nailed it this morning when I tried it. I did it in one shot where I just got the timing right, and the blue gravitational brings you back on there. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it again, but there is a way to do it. The 18th hole or the first hole on hard, which you have there's basically a big map, and you have all the little boats. That was that. What other holes that were really good? Gosh, there's so many that this course might be one of those that just have amazing holes all around.
I forget the wine guy's name, but there's a hole where there's a wine pool, and the course, it must be ever so slightly dipped into the wine. Yeah, because you can see wine stains on the green, and when you hit it onto the green, there are little splashes. Yeah, your ball doesn't affect how your ball rolls, but it's all visually.
I really like that hole for both easy and hard because the hole's quite. For those of you who haven't played it yet, basically when you start off quite high up, raised, and in front of you there's like a rectangle pool of wine, but then you've got the hole, and you can't, and then the green goes on for quite a long time. So what you would think is you want to hit it quite soft so you can try and just get it over the wine and stay in there, but it's very difficult to do. So what you actually want to do is kind of hit it hard so it goes all the way to the back of the green and hits the wall and comes back. And it's quite hard to do, but then on the hard mode, it's just the wall at the back is much smaller. So you got to hit it quite straight, but it's hard to get it quite close, to be honest, because you don't want to hit it too hard for it to just go back into the pool. I really like that hole too. I think that was a really clever hole to do. But like you said as well, the maze hole, as you said, was that Hermes that you said? That was fantastic too.
No, that wasn't the maze. That was the one with slopes with the symbol in the middle. Yeah, what the maze one where there's a hole-in-one path if you sort of get it in the second nook, I believe, or second or third nook. Third nook.
Yeah.
And then it sort of just bounces down on all the concrete. Also, another sound effect that I really particularly like is when the ball hits a hard surface.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that this course is probably. I don't have one hole that I don't like. The planet one is the one that I just find the most difficult, especially on hard mode, which is just the second hole, which is what makes it crazy. But at the same time, it's just, I don't like anyone. In fact, when I was playing today, Samson, I was -7 going into the 9th hole, and then I blew up, and I kept blowing up on the back 9, and I just ruined it.
I don't think I posted my scores, but I think I golfed pretty well on my first go around on this, and you
played well when we played as well. Like you did well for both courses. Like you hit, I think you hit -8 on the easy, and then I think you were in the minus for hard as well when we played, to be honest. I was definitely plus like 12 or something on the hard when I first tried it.
With you, gosh, the images are so tiny. I was -1 on the hard.
Oh, -1. Okay, yeah, fair. Very, very good. So yeah,
and then Mount Olympus easy, I was -14.
Yeah, -14. Okay, there we go.
With you. Yeah. My first go around though, I was -8.
Yeah, that was it. That was
so I did get better.
Time. Yeah, so it's one of those where sometimes though it's one of those courses that sometimes you're feeling it and sometimes you're not feeling it, and then there's a lot that can go against you, but it's not frustrating. Well, it's just a really good course,
and it has all those. The easy mode at the very least has all those hole-in-one opportunities that you
you can get back.
You want to go for, and generally if some of them do put you in a tougher spot, but sometimes you go for it, you're already in a good spot.
Yeah, that's true. Did you play with the music on at all, or?
Yeah, man. I listen to that music.
Yeah, how'd you find it? Music?
Godly,
heroic. I thought the music was decent. It's just good music. It didn't blow me away like some of the soundtracks that they do, but it's just a solid one, to be honest. Moving on to the balls, I didn't find all the balls. I think, Samson, you got all of them apart from 17. Is that right? Or did you find them all? I believe
so, yeah. No, I'm still missing 17. Yeah.
I don't have specific favorites in there. The only thing I would say with the balls is that there's a lot of white ones in there with like the like god designs on them, which is really cool. But the only problem with that one, I would say, is that when I looked at the balls, the god designs sometimes are a little bit hard to make out on the ball, and that just could be just me
trying to make out with it.
Yes, I do. That's the only thing I would say.
We need like a magnifying glass over by the hut.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because it's white on grey, pretty much. I think that's why it's a little bit hard to see. But apart from that, just pretty decent balls. I don't know if there's one that I found that I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna overtake my tomato that I use. What were you laughing at? What did I say?
You said pretty decent balls.
It got you, didn't it?
Yeah, that one I succumbed to. I agree. It had one that it looked like a fireball that's sort of got chastity kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of into that one.
Nice. Okay, nice.
How about we want to talk Fox Hunt now?
Yeah, let's talk Fox Hunt because we both finished it actually.
What does the fox say?
I don't know, Sam. So you should just ask AI because that's what you're doing with these fox hunts. I thought the fox hunt was really good. I found it challenging at first because I didn't know many of the gods' names. Like I only know like the popular ones. So
why at first did you pause and then read a bunch or what?
No. I just eventually figured out that. First of all, it shows you the picture of the god, obviously, and there's a lot of statues of the gods around, so it's easier to find it that way. And also, the way that the course is, it actually makes the fox hunts like fairly straightforward because they have to be at one of these holes essentially that have the god. So some of them are like, even though they're technically linked to the god, it's not as obvious. Where I think most of the clues were at the obvious ones.
I agree. There was one where it was actually really when difficult. I came to you, but I actually went to it first, but I couldn't find it at that hole. And then I was like, "Oh, I must be wrong. It must be a different hole." And then you told me no, it was that hole. So I had to scour a little bit.
There's the one difficult one that I got stuck on, and I won't spoil where I found it, but there was one about like where the music was, and there's the god was playing a harp, and I found the harp on I think it was a hole.
There's a harp on the
something
floor
like that. There's a harp on the floor, and I was looking around for ages, and I was like, okay, there's the harp, but where's the clue? Where's the next clue? And I could not find it, and then I looked everywhere, and then I decided to go, you know what? Let's start from hole 1 again and just kind of walk through, and then I found it eventually. So I won't tell you where it is, but that's the only one that really stumped me. And I still don't understand why it was where it was, but then maybe I just missed the clue there. But yeah. Very good fox hunt. The putter itself, I really like the putter. It feels really thick. Like if there's any golfers watching this, you probably know about the thick putters. I actually forget what they're called.
Super Gertha, I think.
They're called they're called super strokes, and they're you just there's so many of these when you're talking about golf, so you just gotta just take it on its chin. It's called the super stroke, and it's basically a much thicker grip that you can get with your putters, and it's become a really popular thing for the last like 7-8 years. And I've got one on my putter, for example, and it just makes the grip really thick, so when you have like bigger hands, it's easier to hold. When you're putting, and you can keep steady and you use your forearms rather than your wrist. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that kind of thickness on this putter, so it feels like I'm holding a super stroke because it's a pillar.
It's
on
a
the
cloud.
Actual putter. No, it's a pillar.
Well, and there's a cloud up there.
There's a cloud, yeah. So there's a pillar, and then there's a cloud, and then it's a lightning bolt, and then it's the Zeus's temple at the bottom, which is the head. But yeah, I like the putter. This is so thick, which is so different to what I'm used to. I can't say this without talking.
I don't notice it being that thick. I'm not gonna lie.
I felt it does like look really
cool. Yeah, it does look really cool. We did do some predictions of it being a lightning bolt or involving the lightning bolt. Those were correct.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a pretty good one. I could see myself using it here and there, mostly to show it off because it's a pretty cool one to show off. But I find myself probably going back to the 8-bit layer or the Gandalf staff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I will still use it for the next. I've used it a few times now because I've been playing other courses and such.
Yeah, I'm here to show it off, Dan. Too.
I'll be using it for the next few weeks, I would say, and then I'll make a decision if I really like it. It's going to be okay, Samson. Let's wrap this review up of overall thoughts. What are your overall thoughts of the course?
Overall thoughts of the course. Course is great. As probably a high 8 if I had to score it right off the bat. I've only really completed 2 play rounds of each one, so should probably give myself a bit more time. But there's an initial score here, and it's a great time. It's also one I feel like you could get someone new into it. This one will be tough on the phone because I will say I've been playing a bit on the phone, which I'll get into what we've been playing later. But it's tough to get. I find it's tough to gauge power, and you do need power in this one. I'd say for a good amount of these holes.
I agree. Yeah, so my overall thoughts are very similar to yours, but I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think the only thing it's not even a knock, it's just that I'm a big mechanic guy. I love Coyote Valley for its wind mechanic, for example. And we did have a mechanic in this, but it's only on one hole. And just I don't even know if that mechanic will suit anywhere else, but it would maybe in one of the holes it had another cool mechanic. I don't know. I'm really nitpicking. Right, I'm not gonna lie.
This is the thing. I feel like what they tend to do is introduce a mechanic and test it out on one hole, much like Labyrinth and funky stuff. And then what came after that? Upside Down, playing a lot of walls and ceiling, right? So what if they, test it out, see what people say, feel it out, and then there's a wacky, wild gravity course coming up that just uses that mechanic a whole lot. That's,
maybe, I don't know, that might drive everyone insane, but maybe. I mean, Upside Down does have the gravity, so it does have, wacky gravity already. But yeah,
not in the same way, but yeah.
9 out of 10 is my initial thoughts. I think this could be strong contender of the best course this year without even knowing what courses are going to come out this year, because
it's March.
Yeah, I know, but the reason is that it's very difficult to fault this course. Let's start off with the holes. The holes, every design of the hole is well done. There's no bad hole in this. Every hole is fantastic, which is huge.
Good holes.
The aesthetics are really beautiful and really well done. There's so many little bits of Greek mythology in there, and they always do a lot of research, and you can tell. So it looks absolutely beautiful. It's grand scale, and it plays fairly. It's not too hard. It's not too easy for both of them as well. It's hard for me to fault. This is right up there as one of the best walkabout courses in my opinion already as initial impressions. I could see this already being in a top 5 without even knowing, right? And when we rank the 2025 courses at the end of the year, it's going to be a pretty hard one to beat. It's going to be a pretty hard one to beat. We'll see.
That's true.
I think this is the best one so far that they've done, which is 2.
Yeah, that's like that's like me telling my mom she's my favorite mother. Dan, I do want to mention a few other things just from the press release.
Yeah, go on.
10 included avatar cosmetics, including a beguiling snake head, selection of laurels, antlers, and messy Grecian updo.
Okay.
And then it'll also simultaneously release on the iOS app.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice.
Dan, I do want to say they updated the Arizona Modern lighting upgrade. Yeah. And we got into that, and night mode in particular. I forgot to go back in to see if they actually added the lights, and they weren't in there because it's what's that sort of that effect where you think something is
it was there and it was
like the Monopoly man not wearing something. I forget what they all are. But my God, Dan, Arizona Modern Night, we might have to play this. On another Thursday night because it looked so cool at night. It was such a whole new feeling.
And they added cacti really cool. in the background as well, right? I'm pretty sure that wasn't there.
Yes.
Not a proper Arizona Modern remaster like Cherry Blossom or anything, but they just upgraded it a little bit.
The lights and shadows look a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. Samson, before
Dan, one more last thing. Hold on. Slingshots are also now installed in Shangri-La.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Very nice. I like how they've just randomly put them in and just adds to more social aspects of the game, which is really good. Samson, before we wrap this section up, let's talk about what makes Walkabout so special. Why is it a game that we always keep coming back to, that we always talk about, that resonates with a majority of our listeners? What do you love about this game?
Dan, Walkabout's got it all. Everybody knows what mini golf is, and if you don't, you have an idea, right? It's very simple. You see ball, you have club, you see hole, hit ball with club in hole. Okay.
Yep.
So anybody can do it, right? It's a very simple thing. You can do it alone. You can do it fast. You can do it with friends. You can do it with friends fast. You can do it simultaneously with friends. You can't do it simultaneously alone. But it's just got everything, right? It's got, if you want to do the speed running, you can. If you want to just take it casually and just like hang out and play with grandpa, you can do that. If I've been playing with a college buddy. I bought it for him on iOS because I knew he had an Apple phone. And I was like, dude, let's play golf. So we're playing. And apparently on the phone version, he could not see my ball or my avatar. All he could see was my club. So he had his only sense of where I was
the marker
was seeing where I was where my club was. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
But I could see everything that he was doing, and we could hear one another chat, and it was a great time, right? I haven't hung out with him in years, really, and so it can just bring people together, just like that, very simply, very very easily, right? I didn't have to explain to him what to do. It was just we're playing mini golf. He knew inherently what to do, and it's starting to. I feel like what I've just said is basically for the first 8, and now it's even it's expanded and gotten even better. And let's say you really like Mist. It's got a Mist course, so it's starting to get all these niches,
all these different
labyrinth,
themes.
All the themes, and they're getting weird and wild with ice and lasers and gravity, and so much stuff that you just can't do in real life. Like when I play with my buddy, the first course I did, of course, is Tour Strap Easy. And then the second course was Laser Lair Easy. And I was like, I just needed to show you the first course I needed to show you something like that was really easy so you could get used to it. But then I wanted to show him that the game is so much more than what you can do in real life, right? With the lasers, you can't do that in real life unless you'd get sued, Dan.
Right.
But and he even said, he was like, yeah, I felt like the first one was like a golf course I'd been at.
Yeah.
And so there's just so much to it. It is so much more than golf. It's Walkabout is everything else, and then it's like a social hub now. Yeah, it's giving you exactly. It's like if you build it, they will come. They have built it. They have built it.
I think Meta should just build, forget Horizon Worlds, it should just be Walkabout Worlds, and it all starts with this, to be honest. Such, because it is the social hub is amazing, but for me, I think what I find so special about this game is the game design. I think the game design is absolutely stellar, and what I mean by that is course design for sure. That basically is what I mean by that. When you go into a course, there's like, it's a standard course that anyone can play, anyone can do. It's kind of the Wii effect, the Wii Sports effect in a way, where like it's so approachable, anyone can play this one. Yeah. But at the same time, what differs it from like Wii Sports effect is that because of the game design is so good, it gives you something for like medium level players. It gives something for hard level players. It gives something for like, the extremists, the walkabout diehards who really want to find every little bounce off a rock to see what they can do. It gives you everything. It's kind of like a Mario game where it's very easy on the surface for sure, but the way you play and then what you want to do and why you want to make it more fun is that you can make it more difficult. You can push for like more styles and go for the harder areas and such in Mario and whatnot. You don't have to, but you can. And Walkabout's just that, where I can play every single course and probably get maybe under par or just like level or something and have a great time or whatnot. It doesn't really matter about your score. Or I can also just play it where like, hey, I want to be the fastest. So now you got the race mode and I want to just get the best score I can by trying to do trick shots, trying to get hole-in-ones, trying to do tourist trap 18 and go behind you and trying to do that. Like all of a sudden you're looking at the environment and you're like, how can I use this environment to make it work? Because that everything's in there for a reason. If there's a slight rock to the left, it's probably because there is a small % chance that if you hit this rock right, it will go onto the green, and they've designed it like that. So I think it's the game design more than anything, which means it's a must play. It's so perfectly balanced. Of course, there's some holes that some courses that are harder than others. But once again, if you just want to play just for fun and like conservatively and such, then you can just play through that course. It's not extreme difficulty. You can't get past it or anything. And then add that to like they have all the fun avatars now that you can put in there. They have Slingshots, which is just for fun. They're adding more and more. You've got the basement underneath, which they're starting to build out, where it's like it's like a hidden area at the moment.
So Dan, should we get into that a little bit too? Because clearly we can see that the next room is an Alfheim room, but it also said, well, I guess I'm not sure if that's just a press release, so I guess I won't say more about what was on the door. Because it said like under construction or whatever, and we could not find the door in the level, but it's definitely Alfheim.
Yeah, from the themes for sure. So it looks like that's going to be built up more and more and more and become more public facing, because right now it's very hidden and you got to know what you're looking for, right? Where an average player who doesn't,
I don't think it'll ever be more public facing.
Yeah, you think they're going to keep it as a little hidden Easter egg?
Yeah, much like how you can grab the ball from behind your ear. Like, they never really tell you that. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like how you say that it's very easy for beginners, but if you learn more things, like
if you want to get curious about it,
exactly,
there's so much more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the backrooms will remain sort of an insider's baseball type of thing.
Yeah. It's a perfect game. It's a perfect VR game. It works so well in VR. Obviously, you can get the Pocket Edition as well on mobile now, but it works so well in VR, and it should be on everyone's headsets for sure.
So, Dan, a big thing for Gamertag, what he says in his videos is he wants VR developers to play VR games. I feel like I've heard him say this a lot, and I just feel like whoever's designing this, you can just tell how many times people have played these courses or these holes, because they just feel so perfected.
Yeah. There's so much craft that goes into them, and that's why every time a course comes out, like this one that just came out, Mount Olympus, it's so well done. It's so well done. There's not like they're putting out this course and you're like, yeah, there's no decent course. Like there's courses that are like 7 out of 10 and above. Okay, and sure, if you want to put Tessie Station and Upside Town into the 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 range, if you really want to go that far, just because can be very difficult for sure. But really, like I'm not just talking about the like course design, but also just the aesthetics of what it looks like and all the different elements they have in all the games and how much research they put into it. Like it's a beautiful work of art, this game, and it's just a must play. It's like if you're gonna get a headset for one reason, it's Walkabout for sure. That'll do for part 2. We'll move on to part 3, where we'll go over what we've been playing, which is basically what we just talked about, to be honest, and the game's out this week, so we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3. We're back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 176. Samson, when it comes to what we've been playing, I won't lie to you. I played a lot of Walkabout, and I played one level of Flat Fract. So we're getting closer to finishing it, but I only played one level. And I don't have much to say. I had an episode where I talked a lot about Fract. I'm still having a blast with it, to be quite honest with you. But what have you gotten into, Samson?
Well, I got into Breachers Friday night with my B-Haptics on, with my B-Haptics arms and vest. Great time again. Love me some Breachers. We've been having Pow join us, who I met from the Noble Squashy Discord. And Pow is pretty good at Breachers, so welcome to the gang, Pow. And I got into All on Board.
Nice.
Because I was an early Kickstarter in like 2022 of All on Board. So I had a few keys, gave my buddy Kai a key, and we got into a game called, I've never heard of almost any of the games, but since I had the Kickstarter, I had all the DLCs. So I had all the, come basically free is just chess, checkers, Parcheesi, and there's a fourth one, Dan.
There is. There was a fourth
Go.
one.
It's Go.
There we go. Your basic classic board games.
Yeah. And we played Escape the Dark Castle, which is an RPG type of game.
Mm-hmm.
And I played in mixed reality. It was very nice. It's like playing a tabletop game, except you don't have to worry about picking everything up or like where everything
setting
goes.
The pieces up and such. Yeah, exactly.
And it's very cool. So in that in the middle, there's like a storyboard, a story card, if you will, and there's like 15 of them. So each player we would flip off. It was just two of us, and we would flip over the first one, and then it automatically comes to right in front of each player, the first card. And then whoever flipped it, we would read it, and then there would be an action phase where you would be given like, oh, there's somebody who you can steal from or make a deal with. What are you choosing? Mm-hmm. Or you can get in a fight with somebody, and then ultimately you've got to roll dice. You got to roll the proper dice, and you have hit points that you can lose or gain depending on the cards played. And I'm planning another all on board night, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not really big into RPG board games. I haven't played that many of them. A few of my old Among Us friends, we got into Tabletop Simulator back in the day, and this really felt like that. And Dan, you can launch these dice. I played in mixed reality, and I threw these dice way to my neighbor's house. Not only do they go that far, it's like the fastest throw in anything VR I've ever done. And it was me and Kai had a good blast just throwing this stuff. Yeah,
that's actually really funny. Yeah. You can't do that in real life. You have to go. It doesn't count if it goes off the table, right? But,
exactly. I felt like I was being really careful with like where he was rolling at first, and then eventually I just started chucking him, and then he got into it too.
It's actually hilarious. So, what do you think of like how it feels with the board game? Does it feel good?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. You move around with the gripping the world type of deal, and at first, when I got into this beta, I was a little nervous. But it's come so far. Like they really been doing some stuff over there over the last couple of years, and it felt pretty good. We felt like we were playing this board game together. The avatars are pretty generic and basic, but they need to be because I believe it's cross play with Steam and Meta. So I think if you're into these types of games, like RPG games, or I guess chess and all that, if you're just getting chess, you might want to get Chess Club.
Yeah,
I guess, sure. Right?
Yeah,
but you are getting other games, right?
And there'll probably be more DLCs,
right? And there's checkers,
as well.
There will certainly be more DLCs, but it's only $10 base price. So for $10, you're getting chess, checkers, Go, and Parcheesi that you can play with other friends. The DLCs, I do want to say, it's just like Walkabout in that only the host needs to own them and anybody else can play them. Mm-hmm. So you could sort of all chip in, get one person to buy it if you wanted. And I forget the full price of the all bundle, but it was something like $50 or something, right?
Yeah, I guess there's 6 DLCs. I think there is. There's quite a few of them, but yeah, that's good to hear. It looks like a really good social game. It looked really interesting when we talked about it, obviously last week as well. But yeah, it looked like a very good game, and obviously just a game that you need other people to be. But hey, you never know. One day in a DLC, they could introduce.
You can. Some of them are single player.
Oh, they do already. Sure. Okay, perfect.
But it's sort of hard for me personally. Hard to like imagination my way through alone.
Right.
But I can read them. They are The Binding of Isaac is $10. Istanbul $10. Rallyman GT $6.99. Escape the Dark Castle $6.99. The Hunger $12.99. Terraforming Mars $12.99. And there's an all-in-one bundle for $49.99.
Nice. Very, very good. Yeah, that's very fun. And then you've got your Quake night as well coming up.
Yeah. Well, I also got on Walkabout a bunch. Like I said, I got him with a college buddy of mine. I got him, he was on his phone. I was on VR. He was very impressed with the whole situation. And he was just very jealous that he couldn't see
Your
me
balls.
really playing. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if that was, I mean, I guess I didn't think it was a bug because we played like 3 games and it was the same.
The same.
But I hope maybe that could come. I'm not sure. And yeah, Quake 3 night this Sunday, March 9th at 8 p.m. Me and the gang, we're going to be getting in there. So if you have Quake 3, side quest, you can get in there. We'll be one of the only VR servers with people.
Yeah, fair enough. Or you can just DM Samson and
or come to Discord too. Yeah,
for sure. All right, let's wrap this show up with the games out this week. There are 4 games out.
Wow,
Samson,
you're going to be doing 2 reads.
Yeah, well, since you've been talking, let me say the first one. The first one's called Lovesick, Middle America, 1999. After a grueling tour that has left them emotionally drained and flat broke, the 4 members of the New Agenda make it back to their diplomated home. They have nothing in the fridge, nothing in the bank, nothing in the future, but a whole bunch of questions. In Lovesick, you assume the role of Sam, the band's bassist, as he navigates the strange environments imprisoning his bandmates, with each surreal mindscape reflecting the memories, fears, and ambitions of a person trapped within his crumbling band's last hope. It's up to Sam to piece together the mystery behind the feedback, determine what lies ahead with a New Agenda, and find his bandmates before they are swallowed whole by their own troubled minds. Samson, what the hell is this game about?
Everybody needs a good Sam. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
I after reading that, I didn't know what was happening here. To be honest,
it looks pretty like surreal and kind of crazy. I don't know what's going on either. I'm not sure it's my thing. It could be possible though that it's a very interesting story. Dan,
it looks very interesting. It's
unique, definitely unique.
It's definitely unique. Yeah, very set in the like music genre.
And
yeah,
and Dan, I mean, the band's bassist has a really good name.
What's his name? Sam.
Sam.
Yes, I can't tell. It seems like a puzzle game, which and you've kind of eaten lots of mushrooms and you're in a bit of a time warp kind of thing. But yeah, that's Lovesick. Samson, what else is coming out?
What else is coming out? Symphony, Dan. Welcome to Symphony, where you can be grand musical wizard who breathes new life into classical music. Unlike traditional rhythm games, Symphony lets you conduct, cast spells, and transform reality while grooving to the classics. Conduct the symphony with your wand and cast spellbinding portals to the rhythm of classical masterpieces. Experience visually stunning MR transitions as your living room transforms into enchanted symphonic worlds. Challenge yourself with Chavatsky. Get in the comments and correct me because I butchered it. I definitely heard it and I know how it's pronounced. I'm not getting it. Beethoven and more across 3 difficulty levels and 4 magical realms. With 16 masterpieces, 3 difficulties, wand collections, collectible crystals, and a custom song editor, and free song updates planned in the near future. Get ready to raise your wand and experience the magic of classical music like never before.
Dun, dun, dun. This looks like a Harry Potter style version of Maestro in a way. Maestro's really gone in with the actual aesthetics of an orchestra and such, where Symphony feels like, I don't know, let's say like a synth riders-esque in terms of what that is, mixed in with some like wands and wizard kind of aspects of it and such. So, and then you can have new songs, you can create your own songs if you wanted to on this, I believe.
Is it just like, it does look a little, yeah, it does look cool. It's like the rhythm game. It's more rhythm gamified.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And then you can do it mixed reality too. So yeah. Very interesting.
It does
very
look cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why we do these reads outs.
I don't know how much it is. It doesn't have a price yet. It just says wish list.
Yeah, but it's out soon. It's out soon. Next one, the third out of the fourth on this list. Stellar Plans. In this game, you will enter a world of fantasy and adventure. You will play as a human outsider from the distant planet or as an indigenous Warcraft creature. I read that wrong. You either play as a human or the indigenous Warcraft creature. Regardless of which faction you choose, you will encounter rich exploration and interaction. You will play the daily life of your enemies and see the world from their perspective. Players can control various aspects of characters, such as attributes, talents, and attire. Enemies in the game include different types of human armies, semi-mechanical armored units, massive super armored units, various humanoid mutant beasts, alien humanoid mutants, and giant alien humanoid mutants.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you will need to confront various enemies, strive to survive under the guidance of NPCs, and uncover the mysterious truth behind Star Plan and the Sky City. Whoa, what do we think about this?
Definitely
Stellar Plans
looks interesting. I don't know that it's up my alley, Dan.
No?
But it does look cool, and it could be up other people's alleys, I'd say. But yeah. I mean, it looks cool, right? You're using like sci-fi and mixing that with sort of things that shouldn't be sci-fi. It sort of, reminds me of was it like a Dino Crisis was kind of that vibe, I guess. Not that this is like Dino Crisis.
No. But yeah, get a bit of a Skyrim vibe with then you've got guns. Normal guns and such. Yeah, exactly. It's not for me. It's a role playing game, but it's not for me. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the reviews for Stellar Plans. It does look good, to be honest. Samson, go round it out for us. What do we have?
Yeah, Trailblazer: The Untold Story of Mrs. Benz. Brought to you by the executive producers of All Quiet on the Western Front and The Pirate Queen. Discover the extraordinary true story of Bertha Benz, a trailblazing pioneer who defied societal norms to embark on the world's first road trip in 1888. Starring Daisy Ridley from Star Wars and directed by Emmy-nominated filmmaker Eloise Singer, Trailblazer is a 20-minute VR interactive story created by Singer Studios. Step into Bertha's shoes, explore her workshop, assemble the world's first motocar, and drive through the breathtaking landscape of 1888 Germany. Celebrated for its cinematic storytelling and meticulously crafted historical settings, this critically acclaimed experience premiered at the Venice Film Festival at South by Southwest. Perfect for history enthusiasts and story seekers of all ages, Trailblazer transports you to an extraordinarily forgotten moment in history. Are you ready to uncover Bertha's untold story and embark on the journey that changed the world? Dan, I'm interested in this one as well.
Yeah, me too. It's obviously like a documentary, but it's all built in VR, so you're in actual interactive VR rather than just being in like a 360 documentary or anything like that. I'm interested. I can't see this being more than like $7 probably, so I think I'd buy this. It's only a 20-minute VR interactive story. I feel like I don't think it'll be that much, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think $10 at best. At best,
The Pirate Queen is $14.99.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was. I've not seen the Pirate Queen before. I didn't realize that was the Pirate. So is the Pirate Queen a VR?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen that before. Have you done that before? Have you played that before?
I have not, but it's with Lucy Liu.
It is the Pirate Queen. Yeah, I've a similar kind of thing as well. I think. Yeah. Okay, I've never heard of that one, but yes, that is $15, so probably exactly the same. Okay, so ignore me. I'm interested in this other one too.
There you have it.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know these existed, so there we go. You got Trailblazer, Untold Story of Mrs. Benz. I think, yeah, I might want to pick that one up for sure. Samson, that is it. That is the end of the show. We've always come to this time. Yeah, it was a solid show there. Everyone, like I said, there's a Discord in the below. Send us some comments so we can read out your comment on the show. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to go have some dinner now. It's quite late.
Hey, Dan, looks like Rogue Pinatas is coming out March 6th as well.
Rogue Pinatas? Tell me about Rogue Pinatas.
Rogue Pinatas VR Mageddon. It's a multiplayer VR roguelike game where vampire survivors meet Dead Rising. After a birthday party goes haywire, the world now faces an onslaught of endless swarms of angry pinatas. As a last line of defense, you're humanity's final hope in the VR Mageddon. The mission is simple: survive the party apocalypse or succumb to sweet defeat. It looks like a pinata wave shooter, I think.
I swear we read that out.
Yeah, and I think we've done it before, and it got delayed.
It must have got delayed, yeah, because as soon as you said that, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard this one before. There is a demo of that game, by the way, on the Quest Store. I haven't checked it out, but if you wanted to check it out, there's a demo on there. But yeah, okay, with that, we will now wrap it up. I've been Dan. He's been Samson. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.